Okay, welcome to Bitrix Live. I am Damien Edwards, Sales Manager of Interface, and with me I've got our Support Manager, Andy Naylor.
Hi there. If you've got any questions throughout this Bitrix Live, then just pop them in the box on YouTube. You can tweet us at Interface, or you can send us an email live@interface.com, and we can get round. If you want to email and we don't get round to your questions, we can always answer them in next week's episode as well.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions coming on email beforehand. First one I've got is, I am building a workflow that will send an email, secondly pause, and then receive an email from the customer, and then follow up with a second outgoing email. So let's have a look at how you do that kind of process. If we go into the CRM, and we need to go into settings page within the CRM, find automation. If we go into automation, and we're going to do this, we're going to show you this on the leads section. So if we go into configure automation rules, you can see that we've already got some triggers and some rules set up on here. We've already got our different lead stages over here. But the first set was to send an email. So we can indeed when the lead is new at this stage, we can trigger an email. So we have this item already in here. I can change the content of the email by adding my email content into there. And second step was to pause. Well, the process here will pause unless either a user manually updates the stage or one of these triggers happens. And as you can see, we have at this stage a couple of triggers already. So incoming email or incoming call. So in this process, we've already got an incoming email will update the stage of this lead to assigned, and it will then trigger these actions below. So if we wanted to send, the next step was to send an email. So if we want to send an email, we can do that by dropping an email into here. Second email, some text in here, save that. And yeah, we can remove these. I mean, we've got some other actions in here that change the responsible person. We've got a control also in these at each of these stages that will change the status of the lead should nothing happen within 3 days. So that's an additional action should you want that. So that's it really. Just to recap on new, an email is going to be sent. Ignore these other actions for now. When we receive an incoming email which matches the email that exists in the lead, so it matches the email address we have in the lead, then it will trigger these actions below. So in this example, we've got change responsible person, maybe escalate it to a more senior salesperson, but we've got this action here, send a follow-up email. So there was a follow-up question about how do I need to include a sort of deal ID or something like that in the outgoing email? You don't. It looks... it receives the incoming emails in. It looks at whether that email address exists inside a lead within Bitrix. Should it exist, it will then perform the next set of actions. So in this case, we're looking for an email address. You can also do it for an incoming call as well. So if the lead has a telephone number included with it, and we receive a call from that number, then the same thing will happen here. It will trigger these different actions below. So, fairly
for the call, just to make sure that you would need, and also for your email as well, you would need to make sure that they are configured. So, for example, with your emails, if you went to your user profile, you can see here that you can click on email integrations options. So I'll leave this for the moment. And all you need to do here is just make sure that your mailbox is connected to Bitrix. And what that will allow you to do then is all the emails that are being received into your mailbox. Bitrix will check to see whether that email address exists within your CRM. So in this case, what Jamie's just been explaining with regards to the leads. If it does exist, then it will perform that trigger on that particular lead itself for the automation side of things. And then also, Jamie mentioned with regards to you can use a telephone call to act as a trigger for the automation. Just need to obviously make sure that you've got the telephony set up within Bitrix here. So as long as you've got the telephony set up, then obviously incoming calls will come into Bitrix and the number will be able to check against a contact or a lead in the CRM. So once you've got those two configured, you'll be okay with triggering those particular automation rules.
Okay, let me just show you to finish off then on that in leads. Let's just find a lead in the system. So we talked about an email address and a telephone number existing in the lead. So of course the lead could be generated in different ways. You might just create the lead manually in order to run this process for this particular prospect. It might be generated from a web form or from a chat or some other external source. But we need to see an email address inside here. So we've got an email inside here of this lead. So should we receive an email, we're going to be sending an email out firstly as the first part of the process to this email address. Should we receive a reply from that email address, it would update to the second stage and send up the following email. Okay, we've got another question which follows on a little bit from that. If my emails are synced to Bitrix, can I send emails via Bitrix from my email address? So I think that's referring to whether they can use their own domain, their own actual email address rather than some sort of Bitrix email address. So yeah, I think that's should be fairly straightforward. So I think as Andy showed you there, you can add your email address into your profile up here, and then it is possible to search for your contact and various things you can do. Of course, you can call them. Click on that. We can call the contact. You can send an SMS and you can send an email, and it will come from your email address. So in this case, we've got an interface email address set up for this user. So this is the email address which will appear as the sender's email address. Of course, if you send emails from your Bitrix account, you're going to copy over a record of that email into the activity stream over here. So you're getting a full history of the activities with that prospect. Okay, let's see if we've got anything else come in. Okay, we've got a question here about SMS and what number. If I was to send SMS, what number would the SMS come from? I'm not too sure. I think probably you have to rent a number, I think, and I think it comes from that number, so you've not got too much choice on.
So if you're wanting to send SMS from the system, the first thing you should do is if you visit the application store, and the one that I've used before with some of our clients is Plivo, I do believe, and what that allows you to do, it's obviously a third-party piece of software, so you can see in here once I search for it, and see, this is the one that we've used before, Plivo, and I would recommend these. This is a pretty good tool, and what they allow you to do is they allow you to select a phone number from the collection of phone numbers that you want to send it from. But if you're on a paid version of this, you can actually put your company name. So say, for example, if we set it up on here, for example, for Intraface, then we sent a SMS campaign, which you can now send out of Bitrix. You can actually have it coming from Intraface instead of a telephone number. So I would look at my phone, it would say Intraface and then the message underneath, rather than an actual physical mobile number.
Okay,
so
that's good. If I invite customers to the website, does this count as the amount of users on my package? So I think the question there is about inviting in extranet users to the system. So if we're talking about customers, I guess you're talking about inviting in them as an extranet user in order to collaborate with them inside the platform. Well, Bitrix extranet users in external extranet users in Bitrix are free. Unlimited numbers are free, so it doesn't count towards your user count. So if you're on one of the CRM package or standard packages, then it won't count towards one of those users.
Yeah, so there's two types of users on Bitrix. As Damien mentioned there, you've got your extranet users. So they don't count towards your user count. But if here you can see on the screen, if you're just going to invite a normal user, if you're inviting an employee, then that would class as a user on your system. We always recommend, if you've just started using Bitrix, always recommend to set up your company structure. So when you're actually inviting your new users into the system, you can actually select invite employee and you can specify a particular department from your company structure to put them into, which is a really good foundation to start using Bitrix because a lot of the aspects of Bitrix is based around the permission side of things, and the permissions run off what particular department a user is in.
Okay. Will my system run faster if I use you for my server? So I guess we're referring to a self-hosted version, and it is you have some options with the self-hosted product. You can host that in-house on a physical server physically located in your office. You can rent a web server on something like AWS or Google, or you can use a partner who will have a platform available to host for you. So does it run faster? We'd hope that our server runs faster. Our server's optimized for Bitrix, but speed is the speed of the system's down to the resources you have available on the server. So depending on how much you want to put into it in terms of the resources you want to make available, then that will determine the speed of the system. So it really depends. If you use us as a partner for hosting, we can configure a custom environment for you. So should you need more space, or should you have a large number of users, we can make the server operate suitably for you. And Bitrix includes tools as well. On the self-hosted side, it includes tools to check performance. So you can let's have a quick look. You can actually check the speed that the site's running at. So I've just gone into the control panel within Bitrix, and we've got a tool here that allows you to run kind of some tests on that speed. So as well as the sort of processing power, it checks things like PHP and your database and things like that, and just checks how quick that's running. So if you look on our server, we're exceeding the kind of standard recommended speed for the writing queries to the server. So it's not a simple question to answer, really. I think there's all sorts of different things you need to consider when you're setting up your server. If you want to get a partner involved, then of course they may be able to help further. Okay. So we've got a question on, is there a limit on how many items I can add to my activity stream? Well, you can add as many items, you can create as many posts on an activity stream as you like. I don't think there won't be any limit on any package. Even on the free package of Bitrix, you can add unlimited number of items to an activity stream. Let's have a look, see if we've got.
Can I customize my site so that customers see different things, pages to employees? So a lot of Bitrix is customizable now. You'll notice in our background here that we've got the ability to share themes, so you can see different style background. You see we've got a grass and sky there, and you just need to go to your themes section. And you can also on the cloud products, you can also add your logo if you wanted to, so you can brand it up a little bit. In reference to showing different things to different users, obviously Bitrix is quite permission heavy. So you can actually show different menu items if you wanted to different people. You can show in the CRM, that's pretty. You can pretty much tailor that to however you want. So you can have people see their own contacts, their own leads, and things like that, rather than seeing other salespeople's. And then you've got a little bit of an expansion onto that with the on-premise version. You can really brand that one up. So you've got the ability to create new login pages, brand them up with your company branding, and then you've got on the extranet you can have your own banners and you can display different content for those particular users. So
I think this specifically they're asking if you can, your customers can see different things to your employees. So that is the case, and I think also of course you don't want your customers to see certain aspects that your employees can see. So, and as Andy says, there is a lot of different ways you can create permissions internally, so different employees see different content within the system. But when you invite a user in as a customer, as an extranet user, they're automatically restricted to certain areas of the site, like the CRM and HR tools anyway. But beyond that, you can, depending on which package you've got, and you can do more on this on the self-hosted, you can show them custom links and things. You can actually show them custom things down there, custom banners on the right-hand side down here as well. So there's, I think actually this is where the self-hosted version becomes very useful, in that when you're inviting a customer in, you can not only can you show them some of your own branding on the self-hosted version, but you can show them really take out a lot of the functionality that you don't want them to have access to, and make the experience, the user experience, as simple and as relevant to what you do as possible. So there's a lot of different ways that you can show different content to different users, and so yeah, I think if you want to get in touch with us afterwards and tell us what exactly you want them to see, we could probably explain exactly how. If you want to follow up now, we'll probably explain exactly how that might work best. Okay, we've got a question here about lists. What are the main functions of lists? How would they help my business? Can you run through an example? How I would use lists? Lists exist as a standalone module, but they exist also within each work group. So I think lists have a whole load of different uses, but I think if you think about what you maybe currently do on some spreadsheets in creating tables of data, then a list would replace that kind of functionality. So you can create tables of data, you can sort and filter through those data tables, and you can also run processes on them. So I think that there's a whole extra functionality to using spreadsheets, but this one's for expenses. So of course we can see things like the description of the expense, the amount, the date. If we wanted to add in columns like the responsible person, then we could do that as well. Customize fields. Go into customize fields, and let's go into add field, and we're going to add in can't see it, bind to user, link to employee, and we're going to call it employee, and save. So, and then we need to just show that field that we've created. Let's just go out of this list and come back. Okay, we're not seeing it there. We're not seeing it there, unfortunately. Okay, so there we go. So we can see now all the available fields, including the employee field. If I go into this one here and edit it, then I can select an employee. Let's select Andy there. Save. So I think lists have a lot of different features. In this example, it's recording expenses. It allow you to create that list, and then if I wanted to do if I wanted to filter that list of item, and I wanted to filter by individual employee, then we can do that. So that one I've just added here as one of Andy's expenses. I can use a filter at the top here, and now I just get a list of Andy's expenses. And of course, that's then useful. If I want to then filter by a time period as well, a date range, I could do that. I could filter down to Andy's expenses for the current month, and then we can run processes on these. So we have some standard processes here, but if I wanted to have a process to maybe submit to finance for approval or something, we could trigger a business process that requested that these items, these expenses, were approved by a finance department. So very easy to sort of change this filter. If I want to just type into here, it's a live search. So as I type, it narrows the search down to this item that I'm looking for. So I think there's a lot of different uses. Different businesses will find different ways of using them, but I think that's a kind of good way of thinking about it in terms of what you do on spreadsheets at the moment is probably going to be doable inside Bitrix lists.
Yeah, and I think Damien touched upon there, just with regards to running the process, clicking on here and clicking on Run Business Process. The processes side of it is one of the most powerful things. So we have obviously a form we submit all the data to. But if we just take a quick look at the process itself, and you can see here if we click in.
Can we create a new one for approval or something?
Yeah. So if we go into the process here, and then click into, let's say this is going to be expenses, and then what we're going to do is when a new expense has been added, we're going to have it. So we're going to trigger this process here. So if we click on save, and then you can see we have our standard business process editor tool. And what we're going to do is we're going to have this approve element block. So once the expenses have been submitted, then we are going to send it to maybe a member of the team to approve. So let's send it to a member of the accounts. In this case, let's just send it to Max Smith there. So we'll send it to ourselves, just so we can see what it looks like when we send it for approval. And then we'll say approve, reject expenses. And the good thing about it is we can actually pull in information from the form that we've submitted. So we could say expense amount, and we'll just put expense name, just for expense amount. And then what we do here is we click on the three little dots next to it, and then we can find from the form fields the amount, and then we'll pull in the expense name as well. So you can see there, as long as we've got the form fields, we can get all that data into this process. And then if we click on save, and then if it's been approved, we can do certain things. So let's say we'll send a notification out to from Max, who's approving it. And we're going to send it to the person who's submitted it. So the person who submitted it. So we'll say expenses approved. If we click save, and then obviously we can do something else if it's been declined. So in this case, we'll just click on save, and let's just run through that particular process. So we'll go back to the lists, and we'll click on expenses, and then we'll just resubmit this expense. So we'll say add, and we'll call say it's travel. The description, and then we'll say how much it costs. And that was on way. And then in this case, we'll just select myself. Let's log in for this user. So if we click on save, what that will then do, it will trigger the process because we've got it on every new one that's been created.
So as soon as it's created, you don't need to run the process like I showed before, where you can run it manually. This runs automatically.
Yeah. And what should I? Because I've sent it to myself in this demonstration, you can see that we have a pending workflow here. So if we click on the pending workflows, you can see here it says approve or reject expenses. It's brought in my travel. It's brought in the expense amount, and you can see who it's come from and who it's gone to for approval. So if it had gone to somebody else, you'll be able to see that your expenses are pending, waiting on the person who your expenses have been sent to. So in this case, we can go here, we can accept, we can refuse, or we can delegate to another member of staff who may want to approve that for us. So if we click on accept here, then you can see a notification pop up there. We've got expenses approved. So that's a very simple example.
Yeah, and it's, as you can see, simple to set up. You might have some additional approval levels and things required within your organisation, but in principle, that's the principle of it. It's very easy to set up. And on this as well, this page, this workflows page, you can create these filters at the top here. So you can filter your individual assignments by type of assignment. So you might want to filter by expenses, claims, leave requests. You might be somebody who has to approve quotes or approve starts or ends of projects and that type of thing. And this is a really sort of logical way to work through a list of assignments or requests or approvals that you need to do in order for a process to continue on. Okay, we've got a question here about asking how they set up an open channel for Instagram. So Bitrix includes, I think, Instagram. Let's do a quick look. We've got one for Facebook. So I think Bitrix includes Instagram, but let's have a look at this Facebook integration, which we've already got set up. Let's just click into this one and see if we can. We'll show you how it works from a user's point of view on Facebook. There is Instagram, but I'm not going to change. Let's just roll down to the bottom. I think there's Instagram. So yeah, we have integration with Instagram, but I'll show you Facebook because it's set up. So there's various settings that you can set up within here. Give it a name so that you know when it comes in, where the leads come from, and so you can track how many leads you've had over a period of time. In this case, it is going to create a new lead for us. This is the person that's going to receive it. Normally you'd have a queue of people on this demo site. We don't need more than one, but you'll probably have a team of people that have access to. I think key here is that you respond to these kind of Instagram posts or Facebook posts quickly. So somebody's not on their desk, this can be distributed amongst a team of people. We've got some automated responses as well. So let's just save that and see if we can go back into the home page of the system, and we've got Facebook set up. So I've gone to our Facebook page over here. Send a message, and if we go back into, there we go, it's pretty quick, so we can see that we've got a message, hello team. If I open up, I'll also see this on the right hand side as well here in this little here, but if that's gone, if I open it up in here, oh, that's not it, okay, there we go. So we've got some different older messages there. So I've got a message, I can say, how can I help? And then if we just quickly go back into Facebook over here, we can see there's a reply. If we add in things like please email me, and then this sort of content, email addresses and telephone numbers can be captured within Bitrix. So we can convert, or that will automatically convert into a lead. So I think we didn't show you how to set it up. Let's just to finish off on this. We can reply to messages from various platforms very quickly inside your Bitrix. You can give permissions to a group of people so that a response always comes quickly, and you can convert then this item into a lead within Bitrix, or it will automatically convert into a lead. You can then report on where your leads have come from, so how many have come from Facebook, how many have come from Instagram, and that type of thing. So you get a quick response, and you also be able to report on these things as well. So if we just go back into the open channels. Your question was about setting up Instagram. I'm not sure we have an Instagram account live, so I'll probably won't be able to show the whole thing, but essentially you're going to create a new open channel within your open channel link, which you'll find in the left menu. And we're going to select Instagram. Which one is Instagram? That one. We're going to select Instagram, and then essentially just connect. So if you've got an account with Instagram, click connect. It will ask you for your credentials. Ask you to log in, and that's it. I think there's no kind of keys or secret passwords or anything like that. Secret keys or anything like that you need to generate.
I think Facebook's a little bit different, isn't it? Because I think Facebook, you've got your business page. So, for example, we showed you connecting to the Intraface business page. You just need to make sure that when you're connecting your Facebook account, that you are an admin on your business page, and then that will allow you to select the page from your list, and then just authorize that page to accept the incoming messages.
Mm-hmm. So I think we recommend you set this up if you're using social media at all. This is really good. Just test different things. If you select manually create lead in chat window, you've got the option to create a lead or not create a lead. You might not want to always create a lead. This is where you add the system. So, okay, we've got a question here. Similar. If a customer visits my website and enters an email phone number into an online form, can an email SMS be sent out automatically? This is actually similar to what we showed right at the beginning, I think. So you certainly can create an online form. If we go to CRM, so Bitrix has CRM forms, standard form builder built in. You can create your form, which is fairly straightforward wizard to set up your form. So we looked at, so that's a web form on a public page. You can customize the background. You can embed that on an existing page. It can pop up from a button, that type of thing. Different ways of doing it, but select your fields from the existing records you've got within the CRM. So should we want these fields like this, we can select those fields, and then we can rename descriptions and things and move them around. And then to customize, again, we've got here who's going to be responsible. So of course, when a user submits a form, it needs to go to somebody, it needs to be actioned. And in most cases, we would add a multiple people within this so that it can get actions should somebody not be available. What is the form going to create? So the question is, can an email automatically be sent out? So actually, we're probably going to create a lead with this form, and it's something down here around how the styling of the form. And then if we just quickly go to the bottom, what do you want to do with that form? Do we want to embed it on an existing page, or create the code for a button that we're going to put on a page that gives us a pop-up form, that type of thing. But essentially, when you've got your form live, it will generate a lead. In this case, we've selected lead, and what you need to do really is the same as we showed before. So we go back into the CRM. We showed how you could do some automation on leads in the CRM. So if we go into settings, CRM and settings, and automation and leads. Okay, so if we go into our CRM and settings and into our lead automation, as we looked at earlier, the question is, when a customer visits my website and enters a email into an online contact us form, can an email SMS be sent out automatically? So yeah, as we looked at earlier, what we're looking for is when a lead is new. So when a lead is created new, then it's at this stage status new. So what we need to do is set some rules for this. And as we looked at earlier, we have an email already as a rule. I'll show you how to add these. If we click on configure automation rules, then you can add additional items into here. So we can remove these items, and we can add additional items to add a lead email. Sorry, then we just go into here and add an email action block within here. The question also asked about SMS. So same thing. You need to set your SMS provider up, as Andy showed you earlier, but you can send SMS text messages from the system automatically. You can do robocalls, which are voice messages to telephone lines. Yeah, just as we looked at earlier, really, it's fairly straightforward to set up.
So we just got a question come through. How many instances can I have of Bitrix? So I mean, you can only if you're on the cloud, you've got obviously your intranet. And if you're on a paid version, you've also got your extranet. So you've got those two sites. If you go up to the on-premise versions, it changes a little bit because you've got the enterprise version of Bitrix, which can actually have multiple divisions of Bitrix essentially. So you can have different Bitrix instances on different URLs. We have some clients on completely different URLs logging in to their version of Bitrix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a self-hosted version of Bitrix. Do I need to take out support? Well, that support is included. Yeah, I mean, you have ticketing support included. If you want to discuss support with a partner, I think that would be wise on a self-hosted version. On the self-hosted version of Bitrix, there is access to this control panel area up here. If I just show you just quickly, if we drop down this slider at the top, you can create pages and sections and edit existing pages and things. And then you've got access to a very large sort of control panel back end to the system. So if you're buying self-hosted, then get support from a partner. That would be our advice as partners, of course. How easy is it to integrate Bitrix into my current system? Well, it depends, of course. It could be very easy, could be not so easy. So Bitrix has an API. There is webhooks available on cloud and self-hosted now. So there are ways, and of course there's the app store as well. If you click into applications, then there's a lot of mostly free applications available within the marketplace. So it's one way of connecting to your other systems. I mean, let's have a look at something like accounting, I guess, is a popular one. So once you have won a quote within Bitrix, you probably want to post something into an accounting package so that an invoice can be generated. So we've got some integration with QuickBooks and FreshBooks over here. So these are free apps that you can freely available inside your Bitrix. I'm pretty sure you get this on a free account, a Bitrix free account as well, or any account. if that doesn't do what you want it to do, or if there isn't an app for the application available, then you can do it through webhooks or through the API. And it depends really what you're trying to connect with and what sort of information you want to send across, kind of what you want to do, whether you want to do it two ways or just a one way. Then it really depends. You might need a self-hosted version to do some. We certainly would need a self-hosted version to do some more advanced integration. But there is a lot you can do with webhooks, and I think we're going to do a webinar on webhooks, so we'll cover all that off. If you have a project in mind, then get in touch with us with specifics of what you want to do, what the system is you're using, and we'll take a look at it for you. If I use a self-hosted version of Bitrix and use my own server, is the information still backed up? If you use your own server, yeah, absolutely. There's a backup tool within Bitrix that allows you to automatically generate backups. I mean, you can do it that way, or you can do it on the server side, where as you would normally do on a server, you would generate a backup or snapshot of the files. So this tool here allows you to back up to some space on Bitrix Cloud, I think. You've got limited sort of restrictions on the amount of space you can use. You've got 60 gig there, I think.
Yeah, you can also create a local backup if you wanted as well. So you can specify that on here. If you want to back up to your local disk, or you want to back up to the Bitrix Cloud. And how that generally works is that then if you ever need to restore it, there is a restore file that would be uploaded, and then you just basically enter in your license key and the password that you set up. The password that you set up on here. When you click on backup, it'll ask you for a password. So those two together, when you use it with the restore file, will be able to restore your backed up copy of Bitrix. But this is, like I say, this is done. Do this manually, or you can schedule your backups on here. But you have got a set amount of space on the Bitrix Cloud. We would usually recommend having a backup procedure in place on your server. For example, if we were to host it for a client, we back up for a rolling 5-day period, so that the oldest one gets knocked off when the latest one gets backed up. We back up at 1 o'clock every morning, and then we also have a historic backup as well for 2 weeks ago. So that's our strategy. That's our backup strategy. Obviously, if you're on the on-premise version, we would recommend either talking to a partner, or if you understand servers and backups, then you can obviously put it in place yourself.
Yeah, I've got a question here. I think it follows up from that. Is if I run out of space, can I buy more space? I think that question doesn't refer to backup space. So on the standard cloud packages, you don't need to worry about backups. The backups are all performed automatically for you. I don't think Bitrix has ever had any downtime, any outages. So I don't know of any time when users had to restore a backup, roll back to an older version. But Bitrix manage all that for you on the cloud packages. In terms of space, so you're probably talking about space, user space for documents. Then I think. It depends on the package you've got. So if you want more space, you need to upgrade your package to the next level. If you have a professional package, then there's unlimited storage space. So that's the one to go for. I cannot hide fields in the CRM. Is this possible? So. Let's have a look. So I don't know which record you're going into, but they all work the same, so should be fairly straightforward. So this is the new, not so new now, slider view. You will want to create your own. You can create custom fields in here. You might need to create your own custom fields, display those in here. But if you want to hide a field, then it's just a case of change. I'm guessing you don't see this if you're an administrator, not an administrator. You will have some limited limitations on what you can see, but if you want to hide this field here, it's just a case of hiding that. So yeah, it's fairly straightforward, and change the field name as well and things like that. I think it's fairly intuitive in how that works.
Yeah, I think once you hide a field, so as standard you can't actually delete standard Bitrix fields. So for example, as David mentioned, you can click on hide. If you do hide it and then you realise that I want it back, it's just a case of clicking on select field and your messenger will appear here. So you can hide fields if you create custom fields and you don't want those anymore. You can actually obviously go back into your custom field section in the CRM settings and delete it from there. So hiding standard fields that Bitrix comes with, and you have the ability to delete custom fields that you create.
Okay. We get a lot of questions about telephony. We've got a question here about how to connect their telephone system. We haven't telephone users. No, it's telephone. There we go. So there's some instructions. If you click in SIP phones, there's some instructions on there how you can do that. So we're looking in here. So the basic thing you would do would be rent a number from Bitrix. The simplest way of integrating with your current phone number will be to redirect that phone number to your Bitrix phone number to this rented phone number from Bitrix. I think that's $4 or $6 a month, and that would allow you to take calls from your existing number inside Bitrix. But there's other ways of doing that through your PBX. So I think there's a tool inside Bitrix that step-by-step tool that allows you to work through how to do that. It can get more complicated if you're using a system that's not a standard supported system, and then probably get in touch with a partner who'll be able to help you with that. But we're seeing around 100 probably telephony inquiries a week around how you connect to Bitrix. So certainly a big part of Bitrix now, and I think as we've shown you, like open channels and things like that. So if you're using telephony inside Bitrix, not only is the rates are good, it's convenient for you, but you can capture those calls, you can record those calls, store them at the CRM record. You can capture, you can create leads from new calls that come in. So if you've got it all in one place, not only is it convenient for you and low cost, but you can do better reporting on where the inquiries and the opportunities and things are coming from. So get in touch if you want us to demo kind of telephony, just telephony on its own at some point. Okay, let's see if we've got any more questions.
Just got a question about having Bitrix on your own URL. So when you obviously sign up for a package Bitrix, you can specify whether you want it your domain.bitrix24.com. That's the standard. That's possible. If you go to the professional version, you can have it on your own domain, so you can put it on yourdomain.com if you wanted to. We would usually recommend something like have it on crm.yourdomain or portal.yourdomain. And then obviously with the self-hosted, you can have it on your own domain as well. So they're the options. It's obviously really good to personalize and brand your URL along with your business name. So the paid versions of Bitrix, you can do that with, especially with the professional.
Okay, we've got a question here about finance packages. Why does Bitrix not include a finance module? Bitrix includes most tools to capture leads from various channels, to process those sales inquiries, to manage projects, to manage an HR, but includes invoicing within the CRM. But you're correct in that it doesn't include a finance package, in that it doesn't include the ability to be able to manage schedule different costs which you need to do in accounting, or the ability to manage VAT or tax returns and things. So regions, there's different rules on how you report